Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The opposition responds to the tabling of that Disney heads of agreement.
A woman is charged with 76 counts of fraud in the magistrate's court.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. 13 days after government officials signed a heads of agreement with Disney Cruise Line in a closed-door meeting with no media present, that document was tabled in the House of Assembly this morning. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis described the tabling of that agreement as a model of disclosure and openness.
I am pleased, Mr. Speaker, that this agreement is being laid on the table of the House of Assembly, which is in record speed.
Amid criticism, the Prime Minister tabled the heads of agreement during the first sitting of the House of Assembly since it was signed nearly 2 weeks prior. The project is expected to be worth somewhere between $250 to $400 million and will see a cruise port and entertainment center built at Lighthouse Point, South Eleuthera. Minnis in Parliament calling the process transparent.
This agreement is now public for the Bahamian people and the world to see, including various stakeholders, the press, and Her Majesty's loyal opposition. The process has been a model of disclosure, openness, and good governance.
However, there's still been no explanation as to why the document was signed on March 7th in Cabinet Office behind closed doors with no media present. The Prime Minister told Eleutherans about the signing 2 days later during a town hall meeting. But Minnis also used the opportunity to take a shot at the previous government.
The strategic process we followed from the signing of the agreement to a town hall meeting in Eleuthera to laying this on the table of the House in short order is a part of our program of accountable governance. In the past, various agreements by other governments were never tabled in this honorable House.
Looking closely at the heads of agreement, over a 25-year period, the project is expected to provide an $805 million increase in the country's GDP, in addition to adding $357 million in government revenue. The project is also expected to include the construction of a pier and marina, construction of dining and beverage facilities, beach expansion and improvements, as well as the maintenance of utility plants and facilities.
Under the heads of agreement, Disney will ensure a minimum of 120 Bahamians will be employed directly during the construction of the project. Disney also has committed to aim for an overall ratio of 80% Bahamian workers to 20% non-Bahamian workers during the life of the construction phase of the project.
While PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper dismissed as laughable the Prime Minister's claim that the agreement was tabled in a show of openness, Jared Higgs has that angle.
The heads of agreement was signed behind closed doors without media present, prompting opposition leader Philip Davis to blast the signing as a secret deal. The Prime Minister claimed today that the tabling was a model of disclosure and openness. Here's how PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper responded to that.
Prime Minister's talk about transparency and accountability is really laughable. They signed the Disney deal. They didn't invite the press. They didn't indicate to the public that it was signed until he went on a political trek around Family Island and tried to score some points for doing so.
Cooper also slammed government for failing to debate the mid-year budget.
It's really, laughable when we hear the PM talk about transparency and accountability, but he refuses to debate the mid-year budget. The mid-year budget involves the spending of Bahamians' tax dollars, and he has refused to debate it. But today he comes to Parliament touting accountability and transparency. It's very hypocritical in my view.
While acknowledging that the opposition is pleased that the heads of agreement with Disney is now tabled, the Exumas and Ragged Island MP says those on the side opposite will keep a close eye on the development to ensure it doesn't get underway without an environmental impact assessment being conducted. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Members of Parliament clashed in the House of Assembly today after Anglican MP Gladys Hannah-Martin brought up the attack of Bahamas Air manager Harold Williams in a South Florida restaurant over the weekend. Hannah-Martin questioned government's approach to the issue, which she said appears to be a hate crime on a Bahamian. Well, Foreign Affairs Minister Darren Henfield again insisted that based on the information available at the moment, one could not characterize the incident as a hate crime.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable, the Chair recognizes Honorable Member Pukalani.
With respect to what the member brought forth, I think the Minister of Foreign Affairs adequately addressed that issue.
There was no official report to the government of the Bahamas that Mr. Williams, a Bahamian citizen, had been involved in some form of hate crime. The government doesn't have the luxury of social media and other people who can just put things into the atmosphere without verification. And so the ministry which the Prime Minister gave me charge over will always seek to be as diligent as possible to find supporting evidence before we speak.
According to Williams, he had only asked to use the restaurant's bathroom when he was stabbed in the face. Both the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Tourism have come out saying it wouldn't be wise for the Bahamas government to condemn the attack as a hate crime when there hasn't been evidence to support that claim.
I appreciate that the minister has addressed it, but he ought not to castigate or seek to demean concern about an issue. And I think what he did was appropriate to put it in its correct light. But it's not a political issue, nor is it the basis for hostility. It's a matter of concern for Bahamians, and we appreciate that the minister has spoken to the issue.
In other news, a 54-year-old woman faced a laundry list of charges related to fraud in the magistrate's court today. Giorgio Bain has the details.
Officers of the Financial Crimes Unit bringing a 54-year-old woman before the magistrate's court today facing over 70 charges. The woman is accused of defrauding a local company out of thousands of dollars.
Dawn Bethel appeared before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt to answer to 76 counts of fraud. She was charged with 64 counts of fraud by false pretenses. It is alleged that between March 1, 2018 and March 14, 2019, Bethel, with the intent to defraud, wrote a number of checks from a Forsyths Communications Scotia Bank account, made them out to herself, and cashed them. Those checks range in amounts from $1,000 to $8,000, totaling $252,478.16. She was also charged with 5 counts of forgery. It's alleged that on March 15, 2018, Bethel forged documents at Scotiabank Madeira Street from Forsyths Communications account. Then there were 4 counts of uttering forged documents, knowing them to be false. But the charges didn't end there. Bethel was charged with 1 count of attempted fraud by false pretenses, with prosecutors alleging that on March 14, 2019, she attempted to obtain $2,000 from Scotiabank's Madeira Street location. She was also charged with 1 count of converting the proceeds of crime. She is accused of using $5,081.16 to pay towards 2 lots in Grand Bahama. The final charge was 1 count of possession of the proceeds of crime. It's alleged that between March 1, 2018 and March 14, 2019, Bethel knowingly had in her possession the sum of $252,478.16. Bethel stopped Ferguson Pratt after reading count 35 and said she did not recall a check in the amount of $6,000. Ferguson Pratt had to ask for water after reading 42 of the charges. Bethel pled not guilty to all of the charges and elected to have her matter heard in the magistrate's court. Bethel was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until her status hearing, which is scheduled for April 16th. Reporting for our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Minister of Tourism Dionisio Diagler revealing today that 2018 was the most successful year in the Bahamas' history in terms of visitor arrivals to the country. Diagler provided tourism arrival stats for 2018 that showed an increase of nearly 500,000 visitors compared to 2017.
In 2018, foreign air and sea arrivals total 6.6 million visitors. Specifically, 6,622,015 persons compared to the 6.1 million in 2017. In other words, in 2018, 486,176 more visitors came to the Bahamas than in 2017.
Foreign air arrivals were also on the increase. Diagler emphasized those figures since visitors arriving by air tend to spend much more money than cruise ship visitors.
Foreign air and sea arrivals to the Bahamas were up by 7.9% between the months of January to December 2018 compared to the same period in 2017. Foreign air arrivals, which you will all know is the most important component of our tourist arrivals, because our air arrivals spend 20 times more than our cruise arrivals. Our air arrivals were up 16.7% for 2018 when compared to 2017. Quite remarkable.
D'Aguilar credited the positive numbers to the opening of Bahamar and robust marketing efforts by the Ministry of Tourism. 2018 also saw a significant increase in hotel revenue in New Providence and Paradise Island. Meanwhile, Grand Bahama and the Family Islands boasted positive numbers as well.
The major hotels in Nassau and Paradise Island recorded a 34% increase in room revenues, gains not experienced in the past 10 years. In 2018, Grand Bahama saw a 9.1% year-over-year increase in overall visitor arrivals. The Family Islands experienced similar increases, collectively recording a 14.9% increase in foreign and sea arrivals.
Transport and Local Government Minister Renwood Wells was greeted with thunderous applause in Parliament after Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced that come Friday, Wells will serve as acting Prime Minister. Minnis will join the leaders of 4 other Caribbean nations in a meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump at his resort in Florida to discuss Trump's vision for the U.S.'s relationship with Caribbean countries.
The Honorable Renwood Wells will be acting Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. So, just a political throw. There's Hope Chester. Wells was on that side, he's this side. Now he's Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister will be accompanied by Minister of Foreign Affairs Darren Henfield, Bahamas Ambassador to the U.S. Sidney Cawley, and senior government officials. Senior policy advisor Joshua Sears and head of the delivery unit Vienna Gardner will travel ahead of Minnis in preparation for the meeting. Minnis will return to the Bahamas on Saturday. Still to come, the F&M chairman defending the Disney deal, plus the Cancer Society celebrating survivors. Stay tuned.